Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Rest of today's video. So it is Thursday, and on Thursdays I try to do Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts, where I come up with a topic that is hopefully engaging, and then we talk about stuff in the comment section. Since it's tough for me to do live streams, this is a cool way to interact with people who watch my channel. So although I haven't had the prop yet, I decided to rank the other 5 bourbon counties that I've had so far this year. I've had 4 of the 5 in pretty darn close succession, so they're pretty fresh in my mind, and I remember what the base was pretty well also. And if I should be able to get prop, I'm hoping, so I'll be able to update this list when I have that as well. But anyway, just figured, yeah, let's do it. It's fresh. People are thinking about it, talking about it. So let's see. So if you watch my reviews, the lowest ranked one will probably not be a surprise to you. Just so you know, I tried not to factor in price, but it's impossible not to let that influence my thought a little bit as I'm like, kind of like figuring out my ranking before I start filming this. I had just reviewed the Eagle Rare, did a couple things, and I'm like, you know what? No, let's film that review and let's do this. So I put them on the ground next to me in order, least favorite to most favorite. Let's get into it. But yeah, if you've been watching, it's probably not surprising. My bottom 2, I'm sure it's, if you've been watching, it's definitely not surprising, but it might surprise you maybe which one's the last and which one's second to last. All right, so second to last is the Bananas Foster. This is a good tasting beer, okay? But where's the banana? It's way too subtle for me. I can't believe there was that much of a price difference. Again, I'm not trying to really factor in price, but it has to creep in to some degree. The cinnamon wasn't overdone, which I appreciated. I love cinnamon. I think it can be easily overdone in a beer. Maybe using cassia bark helps cut down the risk of it becoming too much. I don't know enough about the brewing process to weigh in on that, but I have had beers that are too cinnamon forward for me. This is not, so I really appreciated that. And again, maybe it was because I had a much more banana forward stout the day before I reviewed this one. But looking at other people's reviews, both other beer tubers and people like on the internet just talking about it in text, a lot of people are saying the banana is very subtle in this. Some people appreciate that. They didn't want a lot of banana. Me, I wanted way more banana than this gave. So I was quite disappointed. And the more that I have thought about it, the more disappointed. Like when you watch me on camera for that review, I have become even more disappointed as I finish that off camera and have thought about it since then. Speaking of thinking about things since the camera stopped rolling on the review, I still cannot figure out my thoughts about Backyard. Part of me really likes the berry tart jamminess of it, and those are flavors I like. But then at times it kind of took me out of the Bourbon County-ness of it all, and I didn't appreciate that. And I did end up not buying another bottle of either of these on Black Friday because I was able to try both of these before Black Friday. And I think that's very telling that I tried both of these and I thought to myself, do I want to spend another, $22-ish, $21 on each bottle? No, I didn't. And I still may, and this is another reason this is above the Bananas Foster, may buy another bottle of these just to see what the age does. I am curious about how the berry does with some age, whereas this will not, in my opinion, get more banana-y, as time goes on. So definitely no more than the 1 bottle of Bananas Foster, and I'm not upset about it. What might be the most interesting to people watching this is my 2 and 3, and this was the hardest for me to go. I went back and forth a lot. Which one should be 2? Which one should be 3? 1 was pretty obvious, if I'm being honest. And again, if you watch my reviews, you might have this figured out, maybe not. So I went back and forth a lot, and I'm actually, and this might shock people, put Eagle Rare 3rd. This beer is phenomenal. This beer, I'm not mad that I spent $40 on it. Like, this beer is so amazing. Like I said, I recorded this review. I ended up pouring the rest of the beer from my Instagram shot. I put a lid on top of the glass, put it in the refrigerator just to kind of like space out my drinking for the rest of the day. Flipped over my laundry, stuff like that. It's probably been a good, 15 minutes before I started filming this, so 15 minutes plus however many minutes we're into this video, since I've had a sip of this, and I can still taste it on my palate, and it is still delicious. This is a long-lasting sip. This is a super tasty beer, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I love this beer. This is the first Bourbon County in this lineup that I'm talking about that I absolutely loved. But I could have easily swapped it for number 2 if I'm being honest. And that brings us to the base, which, again, try not to factor in price, but like it's really hard not to. This is so much cheaper, and I love when Bourbon County is super chocolatey, and I think this year's is very chocolatey, which I appreciate. And you know, the Nerd Sense guy said it pretty well. I think it was Mike. I think Sean asked Mike, do you think this one is 3 times better than this one because it costs 3 times as much? And Mike responded, not 3 times better than the base, but it's twice as good as the base. And I agree with Mike 100%. Like, I think this might be twice as good, but the fact that I can have 3 of these amazing experiences, and again, maybe what I'm saying sounds contradictory, and you're like, well, didn't you just admit this one is twice as good? Yeah, maybe, but like I love chocolate, and this is more chocolatey, and I can have more of these for the same. I can have 3 of these, so 2 more than if I buy one of these. I don't know. Again, it really could go either way if I'm being 100% honest, which I have been. I've already said that. And then, to no surprise to anyone who watched my reviews, I basically proposed to this beer because I wanted to be married to it forever. The Angel's Envy, with that extra port aging, it worked so well. It is, in my opinion, one of the best Bourbon County beers ever, period. No conversation, no argument. I won't even entertain arguments because it'd be so nonsensical to argue that this is anything other than one of the best Bourbon County releases of all time. Again, period. So what a year for me. I think it's the first time ever, like there's been times where maybe like one of the variants wasn't really for me, that 2 of them were not for me, right? And then the fact that there was this huge jump in quality to the top ones doesn't happen. You know, so like this doesn't happen, and then how often do I say this is one of the best, period, stop, you know? So like, what a weird year. If anyone from from Goose Island is watching, you know, as a huge fan, as someone who talks to a bunch of other huge fans, okay, less of this, more barley wine, wheat wine, and coffee stout. Have the cool stuff like this. Have 1 or 2 of these kind of ones, as long as there's a coffee stout, a barley wine, and or a wheat wine. The people want that, not just me. Do I want that? Yeah, for sure. But like, I want to say everyone, I'm not prone to exaggeration, but the number of people who are like commenting or DMing me or in person who are like, yeah, exactly. Where's the coffee? Where's the barley wine? Where's the wheat wine? I have liked every coffee stout, every barley wine, and every wheat wine I've ever had from from Goose Island better than these 2. Every single one, every vintage, except that coffee barley wine that was abomination against everything that is holy in this world. That's another video for another day. What's your ranking? Have you had prop? Where do you think I'm going to put prop in this lineup once I do have it? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.